I had no idea. No idea that the man I married, my best friend, my confidant, the one I thought I could trust above all else, was hiding something so dark, so twisted, that it would tear our family apart. The man I thought I knew so well turned out to be a stranger. The love we built, the trust we shared, it all crumbled in an instant, leaving nothing but the wreckage of broken promises and shattered dreams. It all started with a phone call. I remember it like it was yesterday. Although I wish I could forget. It came late at night, just when I thought everything was finally in its place. My husband and I had been through our ups and downs, but we were happy. Or so I thought. Our children were safe, our home was peaceful, and life seemed to be moving in the right direction. We were getting closer than ever, reconnecting after years of raising kids and managing careers. We were at that stage in life where we could finally breathe again, where we were ready to enjoy the fruits of all our hard work. But then, that phone call, it changed everything. The voice on the other end was unfamiliar, cold, and menacing. She introduced herself. Her name was Emma, and when she said those words, I felt my entire world collapse around me. "I need to talk to you about your husband," she said. Something inside me snapped. I didn't know what it was. A gut feeling, maybe? A sense of foreboding that I couldn't shake? I barely knew this woman, but her tone was enough to make my blood run cold. I asked her what it was about, but she was vague, only telling me that I needed to listen closely if I wanted to understand the truth. The truth about what? I could feel my pulse quicken, my chest tightening with anxiety. Why was she calling me? Why now? What could this possibly have to do with my husband? When I demanded an explanation, she hesitated. The silence on the line stretched, long and agonizing. And then, with a sharp breath, she let it all spill out. "Your husband, he's not who you think he is. He's hiding something from you. Something dangerous." I felt the room spin around me, but her next words hit me like a punch to the gut. "Your husband has a past, a dark one, and it's coming back to haunt him. It's coming back to destroy everything you have." I couldn't breathe. I tried to hold on to my composure, but it felt like everything I had ever known was slipping through my fingers. The life I thought we had. The love we built, was it all a lie? She wouldn't tell me more, not over the phone. She said I needed to confront him. "He'll deny it," she warned, "but deep down, you'll know the truth." I hung up, my hands shaking, my mind spinning. How could this be real? How could my husband, who I thought I knew better than anyone, have a dark past that I knew nothing about? What could he possibly be hiding? But as the hours passed and the panic subsided, I began to realize that maybe this woman wasn't lying. Maybe she was telling me something I had been too blind to see, something that had been hidden, buried beneath the surface of our seemingly perfect life. And I couldn't ignore it. Not anymore. I confronted my husband the next day, trying to keep my voice steady, trying to hide the trembling in my hands. He was calm, collected, too calm, almost. He smiled when I asked him about the phone call. "What phone call?" he asked, acting as if nothing had happened. But I could see the tension in his eyes. The lie was already forming, and I knew it. "I need to know the truth," I demanded. "What is this about? What are you hiding from me?" At first, he denied everything. "You're being paranoid," he said. "There's nothing to worry about." But the more I pressed, the more I could see the cracks in his mask. The way his jaw tightened, the way his hands clenched, the way he struggled to make eye contact. It was all too familiar. This wasn't the man I had married. This wasn't the man who shared his soul with me, who promised to never keep secrets. And then, he cracked. He confessed. "I didn't want you to know," he said. His voice barely a whisper. "I didn't want to drag you into it, but now you've heard enough. I can't lie anymore." And that's when he told me the truth. The real truth. The past he had buried so deep inside him. The one he had sworn to leave behind. The one he never wanted me to find out about. Years ago, before we met, he had been involved with a woman, someone dangerous, someone who had connections to the underworld. He had made mistakes, awful mistakes, that haunted him every single day. But he swore to me that he had left it all behind. He had started a new life. With me. He had promised me a future, a clean slate, and for the most part, he had kept that promise. Or so I thought. But what he didn't tell me was that this woman, the one from his past, had been following him. She had been watching us, waiting for the right moment to strike. And that moment had come. She wasn't just some ex-lover. She was a threat, and her reach extended far beyond what either of us could imagine. She had come into our lives slowly and quietly, until one day she made herself known. It was too late to stop it. She had already planted the seed of doubt in my mind. And now, with the truth laid bare, I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unhear the confession. What had he gotten us into? How could he think this secret wouldn't come back to destroy everything? I thought I knew him, but it turned out I didn't know him at all. The more I learned, the worse it got. The deeper the lies went. I found myself tangled in a web of deceit, a maze of shadows that I couldn't escape from. Each piece of information that came to light only led to more questions. Questions that I couldn't answer. Answers I wasn't sure I wanted to hear. And then, the threats started. At first, they were small little things, like a phone call in the middle of the night, or a shadowy figure lurking outside our house. But soon, they escalated. The woman from his past wasn't going to stop. She wanted him back. Or she wanted revenge. Either way, she wasn't going to let go without a fight. But it wasn't just her. It was everyone. Everyone who had been a part of his life before me, the ones I never knew existed, the ones I couldn't control, the ones who were more than willing to pull me into their mess. Our family, our home, everything we had built together, was unraveling. And I couldn't stop it. What had he done to us? How could he have been so selfish? How could he have kept me in the dark for so long, knowing the danger we were in? I didn't know how to trust him anymore. I didn't know if I ever would. But what scared me the most was the realization that it wasn't just his past threatening to destroy us. It was the ripple effect of his actions, the damage he had done, the lies that had piled up until there was no way out. It was too late. Our family was already broken. The damage was done. And now, we were left picking up the pieces. But could we ever rebuild? Could we ever find our way back to each other after everything that had happened? The answer, I fear, is one I may never know.